What if I told you that it's possible to shift into the reality that you desire, and that this could happen in seconds, minutes, or even when you wake up the next day, that your reality has shifted? The number one thing that has fascinated me is what's called quantum jumping or quantum leaping. And that is what we're going to go over today, and how you can actually bend your reality to conform to the one that you want. Before we get into the video, my name is Johnny, and I help others by sharing my experiences with manifestation. And over the course of my entire life, I've been trying to understand and figure out this. And these are just methods that I use, and I'm just helping and sharing my thoughts and what I've done to make my reality happen. Now, this is known in the quantum world in quantum physics that, so when they were shooting particles and they decided to observe it through the lens, that these particles behaved differently because it knew it was being watched, it was aware. So what that actually means is that in order for a reality to exist, it needs a lens, the observer, us. And every person has a different view of the lens. So your perspective and my perspective are different in how we see the world. You could put two people in the same place with the same circumstances. They can live in a very poor country, but one succeeds and the other one doesn't. It really doesn't matter the type of person it is, because what it comes down to is their perspective of the reality that they see. It is how they do things in a certain way. So when we think of the way we see the world, it is not the outer world that will bring about the things that you want in your life. It is the inner world. It is a reflection from within, because most people tend to change the outer world through force, through making changes in the material world. But what's lacking here when it comes to failure is that they are looking externally for the answers and finding a solution when in fact everything is within. So when we change our perspective of our reality and change the way we believe inside internally, that is when the outer world will change to that. The simple way that we can get into the state of shifting or quantum leaping into this parallel reality is that we first have to understand that everything is coming through our thoughts. Now, one cannot just be intellect without body and soul. And somebody that's just body, meaning someone that just wants to just meditate and be content, cannot just have body without soul and mind. Everything is connected, right? It is our vibration, our frequency, it is our being. So if we want to get into this perspective, is the same thing that Neville says, it is all about our state, what we are assuming to be. It is our beliefs. It is not the facts of reality that we see in the external world or outer world. It is what we are internally believing within. And a lot of the times we cannot accept that what the perspective is. Let's say that you see something one way, right? Let's say all you see is sickness and people dying, and you think of these thoughts over and over that you see this, and then you end up becoming more sick in life, when another person can see the world as everyone's healthy, abundant, and everything else. It's because their perspective is different. So we have to understand and learn that we cannot be attached to these negative things. We can also control these things because everything is internal and not external. When we change our internal state us, our thoughts, our feelings, our being. Neville and many others that have written books in this time period between like 1900 to 1940 have talked about these same similar concepts, is that you have to sustain the state, sustain by holding that thought, by holding that image in your mind, holding that belief, walking and talking as if it already is in your reality. And when we sustain those thoughts, then it has to form, because when we look at it as all is one and one is all, everything is connected to the universal mind. And the universal mind wants to create, and it can only create through you. And you can only create through the all. Everything is an expression of itself. Everything from forms, life forms, substance, everything is created through thought forms. It is our entire reality. So what I'm getting here is that we can shift into this, and it's a very simple way to do this. There are a few different ways that you can do this, is that simply closing your eyes and giving yourself about 2 to 3 minutes in this meditative state, relaxing in this meditative state. And when you get into this relaxed state, this is where you start thinking of the thoughts or thinking of the thing that you want, and imagining this reality that you dream of. And there are many potentials of you in this reality. Nothing is ever new or created. It is all based on what you are wanting to shift into. There are many different yous, and what you are doing is collapsing reality by thinking of the reality that you want and pulling that into existence now. It's because we are living that by fact, living as if that were true, living that everything around me is always coming to me, because it is the universal law. So when you go to bed every night, and what I do when I practice this is the easiest way, and people still ask how to do it. All you have to do is imagine the life you want when you go to sleep. When you close your eyes, what would it feel like if you had this? What would it be like? Who would be there? Who would you tell? What color would it be? Would there be anybody around to congratulate you? We ask ourselves these questions to help formulate the feeling and the idea and the thoughts so they can all combine. And we say these affirmations over and over until you probably fall asleep. You can also do this when you're awake, when you're sitting in your chair for a few minutes. Sometimes people relax and lay back on the recliner. But when you do that, you simply imagine, think of those thoughts, and that is the quickest and easiest way to shift into that state, shift in quantum leap into that higher being. In fact, there's another person by the name of Bert Goldman, which talks about these meditations where you imagine yourself walking through a door and meeting your higher self, your higher being, your doppelganger, your being that has everything that you already want, or even picking up new talents. Like if you want to be a pro at playing the guitar or any kind of talent that you want, you can simply go through this, ask for it, and they can give you advice, or you can become one with that energy. Imagine yourself going through the door, meeting yourself that has all that, and you join energies together with that. And you're bringing those energies back here into this field. Neville also has a meditation on bringing yourself through this paradigm as well, and how you can shift through that by imagining and pulling that reality to you. I've talked about it a while ago. I can't remember which video, So if you still want to know more about manifestation, do check out my last video on dreams and how that can help you understand if your subconscious is impressed with the thing that you're trying to do.